What is going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Sloppy Saturdays, and we are back with our favorite style episode, our spread picks going into week 3. Now, we have only 4 plays this week, so this is going to be probably our shortest episode of all time. Last week we went 3-3 on our plays. We might as well not even bet. If we're going to go 3-3 and break even, why even bet? But today we have 4 plays, like I said, that I really like. The first play comes tonight. It's going Kansas State, Arizona. Now, it's basically like a pick-em line. I'm just going to advise you guys to take the money line. I think it's like minus 120 for Kansas State. I absolutely love the spot Kansas State is in. And throughout this episode and throughout the rest of college football, you're going to hear me say buy low, sell high. I feel like we're buying super low on Kansas State. I mean, we see them as a 1-2 team right now. They lost to Army, lost to Iowa State, barely got out of North Dakota. Everybody in the country is saying, why would you pick Kansas State right now? This team is due. Now, for Arizona as well, Arizona has looked great, but they played 2 absolute cupcakes. They beat them by 30-plus, both teams. I feel like you're getting Kansas State at such a low point because we look at Kansas State in the Big 12 in the beginning of the year as a contender. We look at Arizona State as a mid to bottom of team in this conference, and now you're getting them at a pick-em line. I absolutely love it. I trust Avery Johnson more than Noah Fafita, even though – again, the last couple of weeks haven't shown that. And the thing I like most about Kansas State, Dylan Edwards is coming back, the best player on their entire offense that they haven't had the first 3 games. So this should be a lot different for this offense. A guy that you run your whole offense around, your safety blanket, your biggest big play guy. Again, I feel like you're buying Kansas State super low where nobody is. And again, like I said, you look at the beginning of this offseason, Kansas State was at the top of the Big 12 in odds. Arizona State was near the mid to the bottom. And like I said, I feel like this offense hasn't been right yet because they haven't had their best player in Dylan Edwards. Give me Kansas State on the money line. I know it isn't necessarily a spread pick 'em, but again, minus 125, minus 118, whatever it is on your sports book, it's as close to, a spread pick 'em as you could possibly get. Now we get into our next play. I just got to find it here. Yes, our next play is Virginia Tech against Old Dominion. We are taking Virginia Tech minus 5.5. Again, Virginia Tech is a team you're buying super low on, but I don't even get how they're minus 5.5 spread against Old Dominion. Doesn't make sense to me. Virginia Tech just is in a whole nother class than Old Dominion. I expect Virginia Tech to control the line of scrimmage. I expect them to be able, in the RPO game with Kyron Drones and their backs, to run it down their throat. And a minus 5.5 point spread, I feel like you're buying super low. Virginia Tech played 2 very tough opponents. I mean, they had 2 out-of-conference SEC matchups against Vanderbilt, the game they were favored in. I understand they lost by 24. That doesn't look good. And same thing with South Carolina. Again, lost by 2 scores. But they played 2 pretty tough, good opponents in the SEC. And I think a game against Old Dominion is something that they're going to ease right through. Between their last 2 matchups compared to this one, this should be an absolute breeze for them. I don't get how this line's this low. Give me Virginia Tech less than a touchdown. I absolutely love that. The play I love the most out of this whole entire slate, I don't even understand the line. I'm a little nervous it's a trap. That's how good this line is. I love Texas A&M plus 6.5 at Notre Dame. I think Notre Dame is in a very tough spot right now. We said this in our previous video. If you want to go back to it, Notre Dame's in a tough spot. They really can't go into. But Texas A&M is a team I absolutely love. I think their offense is so much better than last year. When you have Marcel Reed going into year 2, the weapons they have, Casey Concepcion is one of the most talented receivers in the country. I love Le'Veon Moss as a back. Mario Claver coming out of nowhere has over 200 yards and 3 touchdowns in 2 games. And I feel like Texas A&M is flying under the radar because their defense hasn't been as impressive as last year over the first 2 games. I mean, they lost Nick Gordon, they lost Jamar Stewart. But Texas A&M, I believe, has so much talent on this defense. I think they have more on offense right now than Notre Dame has. I think their playbook's going to be more expanded. Obviously, you have C.J. Carr in his first year. He did look good against Miami, but again, with the screen passes they had set up for him for basically 3 quarters, even though he came alive in the second half, they are a little limited. I do like Marcus Freeman as the better coach in this matchup, but again, I feel like these teams are basically even, and I feel like Texas A&M is getting no love. 6.5 points. I get Notre Dame is home, but that's way too many points for me. I love what Texas A&M can do on offense. I would even sprinkle the money line a little bit. Give me Texas A&M plus 6.5 for short. And then the last bet that I absolutely love, I love UMass plus 34.5 against Iowa. I feel like this is one of the biggest spreads we have taken in the first 3 weeks, but I absolutely love it. When you look at Iowa, they still cannot pass the ball. I thought they would be a lot better passing the ball, but they can't. Again, a low scoring game against Iowa State. And then when they face UAlbany, they only put up 34 points. They won 34-7, let up a score. I don't see how I don't see how Iowa puts up more than 34 points with no passing game. Them running the ball is going to just help the clock out even more for UMass to cover the spread. And if UMass is able to put in a score or two, there's no way Iowa covers this spread because they cannot pass the ball on anybody. 34.5 points is just way too much for me. Give me UMass. That wraps up the episode of Sloppy Saturdays on our Week 2 picks. Drop down below your favorite pick for Week 2 as this comes out Friday. Watch this now because, again, there's games Friday night, and then we start tomorrow. That wraps up this episode of Sloppy Saturdays, and we are out.